What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Z Sports and Entertainment. I am Z, coming to you from the basement. First, I apologize for being MIA for so long. Work required my undivided attention, so I had to lock in for a little bit. But things are getting back to normal. Things are evening out. Things are easing out. So we're gonna try to get back on the consistency tip. So we're not gonna harp on it too much. We're gonna get right into it. We gonna dive right in. Um, we gonna we gonna get caught up. That's the first thing we're gonna do. And the first way we're gonna do that is we're gonna talk about the NBA draft. That was probably about 2 weeks ago. So we're gonna talk about the NBA draft to recap that real quick, get that out of the way, and we're just gonna go from there. So the 2023 NBA draft was a couple weeks ago, and it was exciting. It was exciting. A lot of new players entering the league, and it's the one thing I noticed was this: the routes and ways that these kids have, the options that they have to make it to the league are starting to become endless. I mean, of course, you got college basketball. I mean, then the G League Ignite, and then you got the overseas route, and then you got your overseas prospects, the kids coming from overseas, and then you got Overtime Elite. It's just a lot of different outlets from. It's just a lot of different outlets and a lot of different ways for guys to showcase their talents as far as I'm ready for the league. So it's hard to say that. I mean, college basketball is going to continue to be like the main source of talent, because it's just starting to get harder and harder to believe that. But we're going to jump right into it. We're going to recap the first round. We're going to talk about some notable second round picks. See where some teams might have gotten better. So let's hop right into it. Of course, with the number one overall pick, the Spurs take Victor Wembanyama. That's no secret. I like it. I love it. I think out of the teams in the top portion of the lottery, he went to the best possible destination for him, from an organizational standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, from a putting him in the right place standpoint, from a skill development standpoint. I think he went to the right place. That's going to be a nice little parting gift for Pop. So we'll see what he does. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, all-star first year, all this and that, but we'll see. We'll see what Victor does in year number one. Pick 2, the drama already has started by pick 2. Pick 2, Hornets draft Brandon Miller. I get the fit. I get the need. Scoot Thompson, guard. LaMelo Ball is very dominant. Brandon Miller is somebody who can play off ball of LaMelo. I get it. I genuinely get it. The thing with Brandon Miller is, can he break that Hornets, the Hornets have had some bad draft picks over the years. I mean, with the exception of maybe LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, every other pick they've made has been not so great. I mean, yeah, you can put Kemba in there, but you got the Kid Gilchrist, you got the Adam Morrisons, you got the Mecca Okafors. They have not been a very, very good drafting team. So we'll see what Brandon Miller does. We got 3, Portland Trailblazers, Scoot Henderson. You kind of had to take Scoot. I mean, you could have taken somebody else, but you kind of had to take Scoot. And now with the whole, Damian Lillard trade rumors and everything, we'll get into another video. We're going to try to stick solely on the draft right now, but I think Scoot's going to be good. I mean, do I think he's going to start day one? Honestly, no, because you still have Anthony Simons and Sheldon Sharp. But I think Scoot Henderson is going to make a case, but I think he'll be a starter by the end of the year. May even be a starter by All-Star break. But Scoot Henderson, someone who came into the G League at, 17 years old, played the last 2 years in the G League, and he has, completely dominated. So I feel like it's only up from here for Scoot. I don't think Portland is essentially going to lose anything when it comes to, don't get me wrong, you lose Dame. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. But Simons averaged over 20 last year. with Scoot's skill set and his athleticism and his ability to play on both ends of the court, there's a chance that the pairing of Henderson and Simons could not extend Damian Lillard and Simons, but I just don't see that much of a fall off. Not saying that Scoot and Dame are in the same ballpark at all, because Dame is ridiculous, but I like where Portland is going. There's finally logic behind what they're doing now, so that's what I think. 4 and 5, the Houston Rockets and the Detroit Pistons. We got the Thompson twins. Amen Thompson went 4 to Houston. Sher Thompson went 5 to Detroit. I mean, again, we're in the top 5 picks alone. Out of the top 5 picks, only one came from college basketball. Victor France, Scoot, G League Ignite, Overtime Elite. I mean, Amen Thompson and Asher Thompson, I think they're gonna be a problem. I genuinely do. I like what Houston is doing down there. I think they're gonna be pretty damn good in Houston. And Detroit with Monty Williams. I see a lot of the same positions. I just see a lot of talent. So hopefully they can figure out how to put these guys together and put them in place and work them. The Magic get Anthony Black. That's interesting because, you still got Markelle Fultz. You still got Simons, Lord have mercy. You still got Cole Anthony. Unless, they need wing help. They're good as far as bigs go. You got Jonathan Isaac. You got Pablo Banchero. You got Wagner, who's, they are good on size. They need some skilled wings, and hopefully that's something that Anthony Black can provide. The Pacers, I can't pronounce this kid's name, so please forgive me. The Pacers draft Victor Wembanyama's teammate, 6'7" wing out of France, 18 years old, but his rights were traded to the Wizards, so he'll be going to the Wizards. And at 8, the Wizards draft Jarris Walker from Houston, and they trade his rights to the Pacers. I think the Pacers have gotten a lot better with what they're doing in free agency and what they're doing in the draft. I think the Pacers have gotten a lot better. Like I was saying, I really like where the Pacers are going. I really like what they're doing. They're building their team around Halliburton, and they're putting shooters, athletes, things of that nature around him, defenders, so that he can just do his thing. I like what the Pacers are doing a lot. I really do. Utah Jazz draft forward Taylor Hendricks from UCF. He's going to provide length, defensive versatility, shot blocking, rim protector, someone who can run the floor, get easy buckets in transition. That's what they need. That's what they need. You got Lowry Marketing and Walker Kessler who are going to hold the front court down at that 4 and 5 position. So hopefully he can come in off the bench and give you quality minutes. A lot of these guys are young, man. A lot of these guys are so young, and it's you look at the slot that they're selected in, and you want to say oh, they're gonna be good, or they're gonna come in and make an immediate impact. These guys are so young. These guys are so young. Thompson. It's don't be surprised if you see a lot of lottery first round, a lot of guys, going back and forth between the G League, just because it's so many talented players in the NBA. And I kind of feel like we're leaning towards an expansion at some point. I really do. Just because there's so much talent. You look at the playoffs last year, and you look at 1 through 10, and genuinely, whoever came out of the play-in, you look at the play-in situation. The Lakers were the 7th seed in the West, and the Heat were the 8th seed in the East. Lakers made it to the Western Conference Finals. Heat made it to the NBA Finals. These teams are deep. So a lot of these guys probably won't come in right away and make an immediate impact. A lot of these guys, I don't see a lot of these guys coming in right away and getting major minutes. We may have a couple of people that might slip through the cracks and, get on the court sooner than expected. But Like honestly, if I'm being like perfectly honest with you, like I mean, from 8 down, I could see a lot of these guys like G League experience, getting their bodies right. Because I mean, this draft more than any I feel like in the past has been like potential heavy. I mean, but we'll see. Let's keep it going. The Dallas Mavericks trade. I mean, I'm sorry, they draft Cason Wallace, guard from Kentucky, but they traded his rights to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, another situation where like the pick, like the idea, but you got Shea, you got Giddy, you got Trey Mann, you got Isaiah Joe. You have guys in that organization that like you have ones and twos. I mean, what's the idea? What's the idea with Case and Wallace? Because I just personally with this particular pick, I feel like the if the Mavericks were going to trade this pick to the Thunder could have gotten better value in my opinion. Case and Wallace honestly kind of reminds me a lot of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Maybe not as skilled, but his motor, his both ends of the court. I get a lot of Shea Gilgeous in Case and Wallace's game. So who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Who knows? 11, the Orlando Magic with their second pick of the first round, they draft Jet Howard, son of Juwan Howard. I like this pick, and I'm gonna tell you why I like this pick. This kid got a bag, an offensive bag. I was actually hoping he fell to the Hawks at 15, but Jet Howard, I like him. Came in as a freshman, averaged 18 points a game, I believe. I think it was 18. Led that team in scoring. Um, and he has ISO spot up qualities. I mean, and he also is one of the players who I feel like can come in right away and adapt to the NBA game because his physique is he has an NBA physique. He looks good. He's built right. He's a nice prospect. He really is. Number 12, the Thunder draft Derek Lively, center from Duke, traded him to the Dallas Mavericks. This was one of my favorite picks of the first round. Derek Lively, I feel like didn't really get his just due, I guess you can say, at Duke. Only averaged about 5 and 5, but this kid has a motor, shot blocking machine, athletic. I mean, I could see him doing great things in Dallas. They need big man presence. I don't know what they're gonna do with Christian Woods, but I feel like that would be a nice, 4 or 5 combo. But we'll see. I like Derek Lively to the Mavericks. Number 13, the Toronto Raptors draft Grady Dick from the University of Kansas. He's a unique prospect. I mean, looking at him, you think he's just like a spot up knockdown shooter, 3-point specialist, but you watch this kid play, he can do a lot. He's very versatile. He's very, very, very good. This kid is very good, and I feel like in a couple years we could look back in this draft and he could possibly be one of the better prospects. He gives me a lot of Gordon Hayward vibes. He does. He gives me Gordon Hayward vibes. I like Grady Dick a lot. And then also pairing him with I don't necessarily know what's going on up in Toronto, but put him next to Gary Trent and Siakam and maybe OG Anunoby. His name has been going around like crazy in trade talks, but we'll see. Last pick of the lottery, and after this we kind of just gonna hit on a couple of picks that we're just gonna talk about a couple of picks after that. But the last pick of the lottery, the New Orleans Pelicans select NCAA standout and sharpshooter Jordan Hawkins. Watching this kid in the tournament, it looked like he was watching Ray Allen. He gave me Ray Allen vibes. He gives you Ray Allen vibes. This kid can just flat out shoot and score the ball. And to me, honestly, they need that in New Orleans. I mean, I feel like they have all the qualities of a championship contending team. I mean, seriously, like you got C.J. McCollum, you got Herb Jones, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Zion Williamson, you got Zone Jones Jones, you got Jose Alvarado, you got Trey Murphy, you now draft Jordan Hawkins. They have players, good players. You got Larry Nance Jr. If the Pelicans can just put it all together, if they could just somehow just, oh man, but that's the thing. It's so much off the court that it's like, how could you possibly, you know? I don't know. I have no idea. I pray, I hope, I really do that they are able to figure it out, because I would hate to see this much talent wasted on this team. But Pelicans draft Jordan Hawkins at 14. Now we just gonna kind of like, point out a couple of picks that we noticed very, I feel like, unique somewhat. So let's get to it. We're gonna start with 15. That's the Hawks, because they're my boys. The Hawks draft Kobe Buffkin, and a lot of people, a lot of experts, a lot of analysts, they say, looking back on this draft, there's a chance that this kid could be one of the best players in the draft. I'm not going to say that I don't necessarily see that, but it has to be shown. I'm very interested to see what this kid can do in summer league. I'm just very curious. He may be one of those players whose games may translate to the NBA game a little better, but other than that, I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out with this guy. There's a lot of DeJounte Murray talks that I'm not too fond of, so who knows? Maybe this kid, comes in and shows us some flashes, and something might happen. 16, Jazz draft Keontae George from Baylor. The reason I'm talking about this is because I've been watching Keontae George for a long time. I'm talking about maybe freshman, sophomore in high school, long time. And I just felt like it was cool. Someone whose name has been mentioned as much as his has been, for him not even to be in the NBA yet, and just for him not to fall off and, keep that trajectory of making the league, it's just very impressive to see a young man to have that mindset and not disappoint, because we see a lot of that. So shout out to you, Keontae. I think you're going to do great in Utah, especially if you can somehow find a way to. I don't know if Keontae George is going to be like a true point, he. I'll be honest with you, and I may be jumping the gun, but he gives me like Jamal Murray vibes when he was coming out of Kentucky. Because the one thing this kid can do is get a bucket. Keontae George can get a bucket with the best of them, but we'll see. Lakers draft Jalen Hood Schifino, guard, Indiana. Big Ten freshman of the year, came on strong. I like the pick. I really, really like the pick a lot. But after seeing what they did in free agency, and I don't know necessarily if he's gonna find room on the court. Now again, he could be a player where the G League could help. The G League could help him, but we just got to see, guys. We just genuinely have to see. I'm just happy that the Lakers were able to accumulate some first-round talent, 19 years old, very young, put him in the right environment, in a winning culture. Who knows where it could go? We're going to jump down to 20. The Houston Rockets draft Cam Whitmore. He was this year's fall. Cam Whitmore was projected to be top 10, top 8. But due to medical reasons, he fell out of the lottery and all the way down to 20 for the Rockets. And I love it because the Rockets, I'm going to just give you a little sneak peek, but the Rockets have signed Fred VanVleet. So you got Fred VanVleet, you got Jalen Green, okay? You drafted Amen Thompson, who can play the 1 or the 2, but due to his size and versatility and defensive capabilities, he's probably going to play the 3. All right, at 4, you got Jabari Smith, the number 3 pick in last year's draft. At 5, you got Sengun, who is a bucket. Sengun, to me, reminds me of a more athletic and unique Yusuf Nurkic. Um, then coming off the bench right now, as of right now, you still have Kevin Porter Jr. on your roster, so you still got that to work with. Okay, you got Cam, you got Cam Whitmore, you got Eason, the kid you drafted from LSU. You just signed Scott Landale from the Phoenix Suns, and you got Emmanuel Doka, who is potentially going to get all of these young fellas together mentally. I like what Houston is doing. I really do. I really like what Houston is doing. I'm sorry, guys, for rubbing my eye, but this light, for some reason, is really bothering me tonight. It's been a while. Cam Whitmore to the Rockets might be one of my favorite picks of the draft. We're going to hop down to 22. The Brooklyn Nets draft Dakir Whitehead, wing from Duke. That is unique because Dakir Whitehead was a top 5 prospect coming out of high school. Went to Duke, had some injury issues, and by the time he was fully healthy, Duke was already kind of in the swing of things as far as their rotations, minutes, and things like that. So he kind of had to get in where he fit in, and he did the most with his minutes. He did. But I just feel like his game is way more adaptable to the NBA game versus college. I think if he's ready to go in summer league, I think we're gonna get a real quick glimpse of what he's capable of. 23. This one hurt. This one hurt bad. The Portland Trailblazers draft Chris Murray, Iowa. The reason this pick hurt so much was because the Sacramento Kings had the number 24 pick right after the Blazers. And nobody in their right mind can't sit here and tell me that the Kings weren't going to draft Chris Murray. I don't think Portland drafted this kid because they necessarily wanted him or needed him. I think they drafted him so that the Kings couldn't have him. The Kings getting Chris Murray and pairing him with his brother Keegan, that's just too much going right for one organization. And for a city like Sacramento, they not going to let that happen. I think Chris Murray is a hell of a player. I think he's someone who could come in and be like a legit role player. Maybe not to the magnitude of what his brother's done, but I really like Chris Murray. We'll see how he does with the Blazers. We're going to move down to 25, the Memphis Grizzlies. They draft Marcus Sasser out of Houston, but they trade his rights to the Pistons. I love this pick solely because I feel like Marcus Sasser in the NBA could be like, he could be like a legit, like, he gives me Tyus Jones vibes down with the Grizzlies. Could be one of the best backup point guards in the NBA, and a lot of people will probably put him in contention to be a starter in a lot of places. But I feel like what's going to keep him on the court is his experience, his build, because he's only about 6'2", 6'3", but he physically he's ready for the NBA. Mentally, he's ready for the NBA. And on Detroit, where you have Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, you're going to need someone who can come in with that second unit and kind of navigate things. You do. So I like the Marcus Sasser pick, and I like him going to the Pistons. I like that a lot. We're going to move down to 26, and the only reason I'm talking about this, the Pacers draft Ben Shepherd out of Belmont. Now, a lot of y'all are probably like, who the hell is Ben Shepherd? Where the hell is Belmont? But I think his first-round selection is more so due to what he was able to do at the Combine in Chicago. Ben Shepherd had one of the best combines in Chicago, and they put him on the map. It may have took him to a mid to late second, up to a late first round pick. And Indiana, they're building. They're building something. I don't necessarily know where Ben Shepherd falls into the mix of that. Personally, I feel like him coming in is gonna be like the Chris Duarte out. So who knows? We'll see. New Orleans Hornets. I said New Orleans. Nick Smith Jr. guard, Arkansas. Or the 27th pick. This 5-10 years from now, for whatever reason, we could look back on the draft and say that this was the steal of the draft. If you keep up with the NBA and projections and prospects and things of that nature, and you would know that Nick Smith was a projected top 5, top 10 pick for a very long time. I don't know what happened at Arkansas. I don't know if that was just a bad decision as far as where he would go. He honestly was predicted to be selected where Anthony Black got chosen at 6, but this, I don't know whether it was injury, whether it was coaching, whatever the reason being. Getting a talent like Nick Smith Jr. at 27, I think that's going to benefit. I think they're going to benefit from that. They got a lot of young guards in the backcourt. I mean, LaMelo Ball, James Bouknight. I mean, there's a kid that they drafted in the second round of this draft that we're going to talk about. They got the kid, I want to say it's McGowan's or something like that, number 7. The Hornets, to me, are kind of all over the place. They got LaMelo Ball. They got Terry Rozier. It's just a lot. They just got a long way to go before they're going to be competitive. I mean, luckily you got a guy like LaMelo who can make everybody around him better, but we'll see. We'll see. We got where are we going? That's it for the first round. That's all we're really gonna get into for the first round. We're gonna bounce around. We're gonna talk about some players in the second round, notable guys. We're gonna start with number 36, the Magic's draft, Andre Jackson Jr., one of my favorite college players last year. I love Andre Jackson Jr. Rights were traded to the Bucks. Getting a guy like Andre Jackson Jr. on the Milwaukee Bucks, a guy who knows his role, athletic, versatile, like you guys saw what Bruce Brown did in the finals or in the playoffs with the Nuggets. That's Andre Jackson Jr., but like more athletic. I mean, 6'7", long arms, crazy defender, crazy athlete. I mean, watch out for Andre Jackson Jr. in that system. What he'll be able to do for that team, I feel like is going to be tremendous. What else we got? Jordan Walsh. Jordan Walsh from Arkansas. If you don't know who Jordan Walsh is, the best way I can kind of like describe him is I don't know what the official term for the diagnosis is, but Jordan Walsh is the player from Arkansas, number 13, who doesn't have any hair. But aside from that, kid's a baller. I really think he didn't really get his chances at Arkansas due to the emergence of Anthony Black, trying to fit Nick Smith Jr. in. They also had Council. But I think him going to the Celtics, because the Celtics have made some moves that are possibly going to open up some rotation spots. He could be one of the guys that gets those rotation spots. So I like Jordan Walsh going to the Celtics. That's a good pickup for them. We're going to move down to 41. Hornets draft Amari Bailey, guard UCLA. Amari Bailey's been around for a long time. Long time. Amari Bailey has we've gotten a good look at Amari Bailey since his freshman year of high school. He's just someone who he's gotten a lot of exposure. So I feel like the reason he fell so far was due to the fact that he's just been seen so much. So there's not really a lot of unknown when it comes to him. What you see is kind of what you get. Hopefully, for his sake, there is another gear that he can ascend to. But I look at Amari Bailey as of right now being kind of like an up and down, two-way player, G League in and out type of a guy. We're going to keep it going. Grizzlies draft Gregory Jackson II from South Carolina. The Grizzlies oddly have one of the best scouting departments in all of baseball. I said baseball, in all of basketball. The type of players that they're able to accumulate that also ties into their culture is ridiculous. Kenny Lofton Jr., Roddy last year. This kid, I mean, they're bringing in guys who get buckets, play defense, and will whoop your ass. I mean, that's just the best way I can put it. This kid can stretch the floor. He can do a multitude of things, but the biggest thing is just finding someone who fits the system. Not even the system, the culture. Gregory Jackson II fits the Memphis culture just fine. Let's move down to 49. Imani Bates. Imani Bates goes 49 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm going to tell you why I like this pick so much. Is he a defensive liability? Yes. Is he an athletic freak? No. Does he have short arms? Yes. But I'm gonna tell you what Imani Bates can step into the NBA and do right now, and that's get buckets. That is something that the Cleveland Cavaliers have struggled with coming from that three spot since LeBron James left. Since LeBron James left Cleveland for the Lakers, they have gotten 0 to none production from the three spot. They've had Jetty Osman. They've had Lamar Stevens. They've used Isaac Okoro. They have done everything in their power to get production out of this three spot. They just signed Max Strus to like a 4-year, $60 million deal. But I'm going to tell you what, this kid, you put quality defenders around him and put him in a position to where he's not the number one option. Imani Bates' spot-up game and his ability to create offense is ridiculous. And I just feel like if you put him with players that are on the same level, if not above him, he's gone through the hard part. He's done the hard part. So you didn't go first, you went 49th, but at the end of the day, you're in the NBA. You have an NBA's team logo and an NBA's team name on your chest. Make the best of it. Take advantage of it, young man. Because you didn't go to a situation where you're positioned heavy at that spot. No, you have a chance to come in and be a rotational guy. It would be forceful. It would be very forceful, but you have a chance to come in and show these guys like, hey, I may not be able to do some stuff, but the things I can do, I do them great to the point where you can't send me down. Take advantage, man. We only going to go down one pick, down to the number 50, pick 50, the Oklahoma City Thunder draft, Keontae Johnson, Kansas State. One of the best stories in all of basketball. A couple years ago, Keontae Johnson went to the University of Florida and was having the best season of his life. Was probably going to be a first-round pick that year, but he collapsed on the court during the game and had to make sure he was okay before he could resume playing. Was able to get cleared before this past season after transferring to Kansas State. I want to say that team made it to the Final Four. If I'm tripping, correct me, but that team made it to the Elite Eight or the Final Four, mostly led by him. So I just hope he can keep his medical under control because I feel like he went to a great place. The Thunder is somewhere where he'll have opportunity to play. He will. Even as a second-round pick, he will have ample opportunity to play. We're going to move down one more spot. We're going to go down to 51. The Nets draft forward Jalen Wilson from Kansas. Jalen Wilson has been one of the best college basketball players in the country over the last 2 years. And he's a victim. He's a victim of the scenario. You know, he's peaked out. You know, we know what he can do. We know what he can bring. But for whatever reason, he can ascend to another level. We'll take it. Jalen Wilson could come in and be a pretty good rotational guy. But again, most likely he's probably going to be an up and downer between the G League. We're going to move down to 57. The Washington Wizards select Trace Jackson Davis out of Indiana, the Big Ten Player of the Year. Rights were traded to the Warriors. This kid's a nice player. He reminds me of Kyle Anderson. He reminds me of a bigger Kyle Anderson. Slow, great footwork, fundamentally sound, knows how to play the game of basketball. And again, in the 90s, maybe the 80s, there's a good chance this kid might have been a top 5 pick. But due to the way the game has changed and the way scouting has evolved, he's peaked out. So 57 it is. And the last pick of the draft, at 58, the Bucks draft Chris Livingston, forward from Kentucky. And the reason I'm talking about this is because of this. Chris Livingston reminds me of Peyton Watson last year. Peyton Watson was the Denver Nuggets first-round pick last year, who probably only averaged about 2 points a game in college at UCLA. But due to his potential and his upside and just what he might be able to do, they took a chance on him. And I feel like that's what the Bucks did here in the second round. Chris Livingston was the kid they were comparing to LeBron James because he was from Akron, Ohio. I don't think he ever went to St. Vincent, St. Mary, but he at the time, he seemed to be the second coming of LeBron. But obviously that didn't pan out. Got to Kentucky with some real hoopers, and you gotta shut up or you gotta play, man. So I mean, he got drafted off his potential, but we'll see. I mean, the Bucks have a lot of guys. I mean, they drafted the kid from the G League last year, whose name is slipping from me. I think he's gonna be a rotational piece this year. I think he's gonna be great. They re up Chris Middleton. He's not going nowhere. So, like I said, we'll see. We'll see. A lot of young potential. The league is only getting stronger, and the league is gonna be in good hands for a long time. Um, Hopefully, we can get some defense so we can stop having some 140, 150 games. But I think the league is in real good hands, guys. I really do. That is the 2023 NBA draft. That is our recap. That's what we got. I want to congratulate all these young men on being drafted and accomplishing their dreams and their goals. I wish them the best. I wish they make as much money as they can possibly make. And until next time, Z out. I appreciate y'all.